Welcome back to Building Character, where we build your favorite fictional characters in Dungeons and Dragons, and where everyone lived in harmony until the Fire Nation attacked. Today we're building Aang, because Aang is cool, and also there's a Magic the Gathering set of Avatar: The Last Airbender coming out. You know, we try to stay somewhat topical here. Now that also means we won't be doing any Avatar cards over on the Magic the Gathering channel, but we did do Millennia, Blade of Mikola recently. Maybe check that video out if you like Elden Ring. I would assume, people who follow me might like Elden Ring. But let's focus in on Aang. He's not just a windy boy, he's also a watery boy, and an earthy boy, and a fiery boy. Which is why the first time we built Aang, we used the 4 elements monk.
What? I love garbage.
It's certainly one of the subclasses of all time, but it's also one of the worst subclasses of all time. This subclass is so profoundly bad, people think monk as a class is bad, and they cite 4 elements as a reason why the class monk is bad, because this subclass is so bad. What's wrong with it? Well, it just burns through your key points so much for such little value that the only thing you'll probably feel like using your key points for is stuff from the basic monk, which isn't really fun, and since that's all the subclass can do, that kind of sucks. It's really, really, really bad. So let's back it up. Let's find a better way to make Aang so that he feels, good. And I think it is important for your character to be good, not because power building is important, but just because it's fun to be good at things and have a role in your role-playing game. I think there's a lot of arguments like you should never use a bad subclass because it's suboptimal. But then the other side is like, well, you should not power build because this isn't about making the strongest thing ever. And much like bending and being the Avatar, I think it's important to find a balance. Because if you're not really good at anything because you chose 4 elements for the roleplay reasons, everyone else in the party is going to do what you're supposed to do, but better. Like, you don't want to get big-timed by the sorcerer when you're trying to be the element dude, Which is also why we're mostly focusing sorcerer here. Turns out sorcerer just kind of has the best stuff for getting all of the spells if you're not book smart, which Aang is not. So if we start on our stats, we're going to dump intelligence. And I think dumping intelligence is especially good on Aang because a lot of intelligence stuff is history of the world, and dude was in cryo. He got Rip Van Winkled, R.I.P. Van Winkle. I'm simply built different. But that means you miss out on the history. That means you miss out on the religion. He's also, a child, so he's not super smart already. And then we can dump strength. We don't really need to lift things if you can just push a rock or use wind to do it. So yeah, that can hang out at 10. Pretty nice that we can dump that pretty low. Constitution at 12. You're going to want to maintain concentration on those sorcerer spells I mentioned later, but I don't think he's a particularly tough lad. He's mostly going to be avoiding damage, which is why wisdom is 13, because that'll be part of unarmored defense, because we're still actually going to be a monk. We're just not going to be as monkey as we would be. Ooh, ooh, ah, ah, ting, tang, walla, walla, bing, bang. Dexterity up at 14, that's what's really going to matter for your AC, because we're just going to get mage armor and call that good dodging. Or if you don't want to spend the spell slot on mage armor, you'll just get 12 plus your dexterity from the unarmored defensive monk, which is just 1 worse, so, not terrible. And then charisma will make the highest stat, so all of your bending will be the best, because Aang is the best bender because he's the Avatar. He's just the chosen one, which is also a very charisma thing. Oh, sorcerer, how do you have magic? Well, I'm built different. I'm built magically. I think you do want to start as monk just because it has a better hit die, honestly, and it gets you that karate flavor right away, and then you can pretty much just run over to sorcerer. I think storm sorcerer works really well. I know a lot of lightning and thunder are associated with it, but thunder is wind damage. If you're going to get damaging wind spells, that's going to be your thunder's wave, your shatters, the third one, thunderclap. I remembered the name of it. The sorcerer spell list also has options for a bunch of water and ice spells, a bunch of fire spells, and a bunch of earth spells. Earth spells and wind spells are not great. Fire is going to be where your damage comes from, and then wind will be utility things like gust of wind and fly. I think go up to about 12 levels in Sorcerer. That way you can get those 3 ability score improvements and max out your dexterity with those, and then get the other 2 dexterity improvements you need from Monk. And boom, you've got capped off charisma, capped off dexterity. With mage armor, you'll only be 2 worse than you would be if you just went monk and maxed out that dexterity and wisdom. Plus, you can get the shield cantrip for a water shield or a wind shield or a fire shield, or, well, fire shield is its own spell, but a wind shield if you want. Wow, wind shields. We love them. Overall, you're going to be a little squishier than the other Aang build, but you'll have options for cantrips for bending, which I think is really important because 4 Elements Monk can just run out of bending. Like, whoops. It also lets you do a little more weird stuff, you know, like you can do counter spells if you want to take away someone's bending. If there is another Dark Horse option, I would say maybe Genie Warlock, except then you kind of have to lock into one of the elements, and that's not really what Aang is all about. He's the Avatar. He's the master of all of the elements. So I think you go Sorcerer, and I think you go Monk, and I think you mix them together, and you say, Dexterity, Wisdom, and Charisma? Oh, I have so many stats I need to care about. You don't really need to care about Wisdom, even if you do decide to go 4 Elements Monk because it has some of the better water options, like Water Whip. Water Whip is not a spell. Water Whip is only available as an elemental attunement from 4 Elements Monk, so I think you grab that from there. And then you have an offensive water option that isn't just ice. If you're trying to do damage, just do damage with fire, or just do damage with shatter and make it some wind blasts. Don't try to make water a damage thing. Make water a utility thing, even if there isn't a ton of utility in it. Basically, I guess what I'm saying is that D&D is not super balanced around making the elements good, you know? When you watch Avatar, you're like, oh, firebending's cool, oh, waterbending's cool, earthbending's cool, windbending is cool, windbending, airbending, what the fudge am I talking about? But D&D is not that game. D&D likes fire, D&D likes cold, D&D kinda likes lightning. Those are the 3. Those are the true 3 elements. Anyway, how would you build Aang? What methods would you use to get around the badness of 4 Elements Monk? Do you think it's even important to be a super good character that's good at things in D&D? Do you think maybe you need to be, and that you should not try to play a weak character? Let me know in the comments below. Hey, why don't you also check out this playlist we made, Sleeping with Tulok, where you can check out all of our videos from across all of our channels and put it on while you sleep. I know some of you just like to hear my voice while you sleep, and that's fine. I'm fine with it. It's not too weird. Specifically, though, I think you should check out Tulok the Barbrarian, where we just built Melania from Elden Ring as a commander, and you like Universes Beyond stuff, which maybe you do if you're watching this Avatar video and you're excited for the Avatar set. All right. Bye-bye.